Hey everybody, it's Leanne, otherwise known as the Photoshop Queen of Schmoville. I usually spend my time doing all sorts of posters for Christian and Mark and the Schmoes Know, but I thought I'd actually step in front of the camera and do my very first movie review, and I have picked a doozy to review. The Wizard of Oz is making its appearance for 1 week only in IMAX across the country, and my suggestion to you is if you do nothing else, make sure you see this movie on the big screen. Who knows when this will come around again, and it is completely and totally worth your time and your money. Wizard of Oz from 1939. People often consider 1939 the most outstanding year ever for movies, the golden year of movies in the United States. Some of the ones that came out, little movies, maybe you've heard of them: Gone with the Wind, uh, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Stagecoach, Of Mice and Men, little movies like that. Didn't do too well in the theaters. Of course they did. I'm kidding. It's a great year for movies that year. And smack in the middle of this, here comes The Wizard of Oz. It's the story of Dorothy Gale, who gets swept away to a magical land in a tornado, and she embarks on a quest to see the great and powerful Wizard of Oz because she just wants to go home. When she gets stuck up in this tornado, it drops her into a colorful land, and this is where the IMAX comes in, the IMAX experience, I should say. They have digitally remastered this film, recolored it, soundtrack, the whole 9 yards. From the get go, the movie starts in black and white. They have remastered this with, even though it's just with color, they did the transfer in the very beginning as well, which means everything that you're seeing in black and white in the beginning is clearer. It's still got that grainy kind of quality to it, like you're, watching an old movie, but it's really kind of cool that you can, see things you never saw before. I'm talking, if they're showing close-ups of her face, you can see her eyelashes. I mean, you can literally sit there and count her eyelashes. She gets stuck in the tornado. She goes to see, Professor Marvel. All of a sudden, here comes the tornado. She tries to get into the storm cellar. She goes back into the house. She ends up in her bedroom, and she gets caught up in the cyclone. She sees the pictures of all of her friends going by. They're in a rowboat. There's a cow. The movie Twister actually did a very clever, homage to that by putting a flying cow in one of their twisters as well. But it's kind of cool to see where that originated from. The house eventually lands with a thud. She goes through the house, opens the door, and here is where the redoing of the color just pops. She steps into a world of color that is so exquisite. You cannot believe what you are seeing on the screen. Color is just popping all over the place. I mean, you've got the yellow brick road, which is literally popping off the screen. It is that vivid. When Glinda the Good Witch is coming through on her bubble, it starts as this little teeny tiny bubble, and it just goes like this, and it turns out to be this like huge magenta bubble that's coming through. It is so clear when you're seeing this that you can't believe the quality of it. I mean, this is how the film was originally filmed. You can see the freckles on Dorothy's face. That's how clear this is. And it makes it so cool to see, especially because it's on the big screen. And, a lot of us, myself included, I've never seen this on the big screen. I've only seen this on the small screen, so things are lost, they're compacted. But you see something like this, and it just blows your mind. Glinda comes along. She says, are you a good witch? Are you a bad witch? The Bunchkins don't know. They start popping out all over the place, and you've got the most exquisite costumes, um, the most exquisite colors. I can't even say enough about the color transfer here that, and as a designer, color is huge to me. When I see something like this, it makes me appreciate films that much more. Um, just by recoloring this and redigitally mastering this, it's just amazing. When the Wicked Witch makes her appearance, she does so in a plume of red and black smoke, fire. She's got this green face, um, and it's just incredible. It really and truly is. It's exactly how you remember it, but larger, brighter, more vivid. When you see the ruby slippers for the first time, you are losing your mind because they're so ruby. They are ruby slippers at this point. It's almost like Primary Colors having a field day on the screen. Um, when she goes away again, it's with the plume of smoke, and it just pops off your screen. Dorothy starts following the yellow brick road. She meets up with the Scarecrow. You can even see on the makeup on his face that it's like a crosshatch pattern on his face. It is so clear when you're looking at this. All the hay that's coming out of him, all the straw. It's just that wonderful to see this. They start walking along. They get up to the Tin Man. He's silver. He's wearing all the silver makeup. And when they actually show him very up close, you can see the pores on his face. That's just it's just amazing. I can't even I feel like I'm gushing about it, but it's so worth it. When they're spraying him with those little oil cans to get his joints moving again, there's something actually coming out of the oil can. I never realized that before. I thought they were just hitting the button, and it makes like a little kerthunk kerthunk noise, but there's actually stuff coming out, and it's you could see it coating him. It's really really cool. When they get up to the Cowardly Lion, same thing. They've like gotten rid of the wire that you could always see holding his tail, and now his tail is just kind of floating on its own, and it's seamless. Along the way, you're seeing all these bright, vivid colors. When they run through the field of poppies, when the snow comes down, you could see the snowflakes coming down. You could see it when it lands on them. They finally get through the poppies, they get to the Emerald City, and it is just the most vivid green you're ever going to see in your life. It is truly the Emerald City at this point. They get in finally to see the great and powerful Oz, and this is the scene that used to scare the hell out of me when I was a little kid. It's a big green floating face. It's got the smoke, it's got the fire, it's got all these crazy things around it. And right in the middle of it, it dawned on me that he's got a row of teeth right there that don't move. It blew my mind because I never noticed it before. And you see it on the big screen, and you know what? I was still scared on this. It's really crazy. Um, I'm not going to spoil it in case anybody hasn't seen it. Ha ha ha. Suffice to say, Dorothy goes through this journey, and she, gets to the end, and all of a sudden, it's, when she's clicking her heels together, and you're seeing the ruby slippers again. From start to finish, it is just exquisitely done. They did not leave anything to chance with it. They really made it very enjoyable. They remastered the soundtrack. I mean, and quite honestly, it brings a tear to your eye when you hear somebody singing, Judy Garland, who had such a big voice, singing Over the Rainbow, because it's just insane that you're seeing this on the big screen, that I'm seeing this XYZ years later, um, especially when I've only seen it on the small screen. Totally worth your time, totally worth the money. It was $17 a person to see this. I actually got to see this with my mom, so it was very cool indeed to share something like this, because when I was a kid, we used to watch this every Easter Sunday. And it was just a really great memory from my childhood. Got to see it on a big screen. In closing, 5 out of 5. The movie is flawless. You really can't. Nobody today can hold a candle to this movie. It's just fun. It's got adventure. It's got that little bit that tugs at your heart every single time when you know that the only thing she wants to do is just go home, and everybody loves to go home. So if you have the time in this very short week to get in to see this movie, please take that opportunity. You will not be disappointed. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did today. So 5 out of 5, definitely. Have a great time with it. I know I did. Until next time, hope to have another doozy for you to review. But other than that, peace out, y'all. Have a great one.